This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the fastest, easiest, most user-friendly, intuitive, responsive, and robust way to make your very own professional website, portfolio, blog, online store, or even just a landing page. Go to squarespace.com and use the offer code THUMBS at checkout for 10% off your first purchase.
Felt like a question mark.
I don't know what happened there.
Like a landing page? Like, click here for the high bandwidth version of the site, click here for dial-up users?
I was just thinking
Or just your logo and then an
I'm
animation
this person,
of a cat
like,
behind
here
it.
it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I prefer mine.
November 3rd?
I know what day it is, Chris.
Yeah.
I always know these days.
All right.
I always know these days.
These days.
This day is November 3rd, 2016.
This is Idle Thumbs 287. I am Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Breckon.
I'm Jake Rodkin. Welcome to this Idle Thumbs episode.
Thanks,
Thank
Jake.
you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Nick, I heard you dreamt about Idle Thumbs. Oh, on this episode, we're going to talk about Owlboy. We may talk about Battlefield 1, depending on how the...
On Nick's mood, depending on Nick's dream state.
Yeah. Jake and I will talk about Mini Metro.
Oh.
And we'll see what else happens. But first, a dream.
I've been having a lot of back pain recently. I messed up my back. I'm an old man.
You messed it up. You actively messed it up, or
Yeah.
it's just messed up now because you're old?
Both. I mean, I'm old, therefore it allowed me to actively mess it up.
What were you doing to mess it up?
I don't know. That's what happens when you're old.
Okay.
You have no idea.
My back is really bad now because my mattress is bad, but maybe we'll talk about that later.
Well, I have... Funny you mentioned that, Jake. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Maybe somewhere in the middle of this, but for now... it is only important to say that my back was bad, therefore I woke up at 5 a.m. for no reason, like an old person. I must have been thinking, maybe it's 7, maybe I should get up, maybe it's Idle Thumbs time, maybe it's time for Idle Thumbs. And then I just immediately fell back asleep. And I had 2 hours to
As your brain went,
enter...
Idle Thumbs, thumbs,
to enter.
thumbs.
And I dreamt that I walked in the door of this building, which is the Campo Santo office, and was at Idle Thumbs. I felt like I was just walking in.
This is did you ever have dreams when you were in school that you went to school?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
When I was really stressed out about a test, my brain would just dream that I went to school and took the fucking test, and then I'd wake up and go, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I gotta do that again.
Yeah, oh, terrible.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I gotta tell this story again.
Oh, I gotta do this stupid video game podcast.
Talk about my dream again. So I walked in the door, but everything was weird. So
nice.
Yeah.
Classic.
So
classic dream.
So in my dream, Campo Santo had released 10 games at this point, and was the size and scale of a large AAA publisher. So there were hundreds of people in the office. There were all of these new people that Jake was introducing me to, and he was saying oh, this is Shmirkin Burpin, and shake his hand, and he was like, hi, I'm so happy to work here. This is Minion number 600, and I was just meeting all of these people.
Our 2-star employees, Shmirkin Burpin and Minion 600.
And,
don't fuck with Minion 600.
Right. Yeah, but then it got really weird, though, because I said something about, hey, I'm really excited to play your next game. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? Don't say that in front of Jake. And then you took me aside and you were like, Jake got fired yesterday. I was like, what?
But he's still introducing you to Shmirkin Burpin.
Yeah, he was still
introducing.
He was still because he was still working there. There was a 2-week period where,
that's
or at least I'm
weird
assuming that's the way it worked. I don't know how.
We're giving you your 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Notice. Keep working, but eventually you won't be allowed to.
Oh man.
And so I got really sad, and I went into the podcast recording room, which was kind of like the older Campo Idle Thumbs podcast.
The dumpier one,
smaller
right?
One.
But it was
got
just
downgraded.
It was
as Campo
basically
Santo
that,
thrives.
Right? But it was a fancier, more upscale version of that. So I was sitting in a really fancy sort of Victorian.
So
couch.
A nice dumpy couch.
Yeah, no, a really nice
Okay.
Victorian couch with it looked like a Hitman level, like the first Hitman level, but it was
Except
our
in a tiny room.
podcast. It was where these paintings should be hung, and so I was laying on this couch, and I was just so depressed that Jake was going to be fired, and I was like, you guys hadn't been like. You were doing other things in like the other room, and I was just like waiting on the couch. And I looked up, and there was this penguin, the stuffed penguin. And for some reason, my brain was like, "Oh, this is where it gets really weird." I was like, "Oh, this is like the that game studio Capybara or Capybara, yeah." For some reason, I was like, "Oh, that's they must have had an event here because that's their like mascot."
Even though the name of their studio is literally an animal
that is not a penguin. But so I was like, oh, they must have had an event here. This studio must have been acquired by Campo Santo. And so, like, in my dreams, like, Campo
That's why it's nice.
was just, like, acquiring studios and, like, just turned into this insane conglomerate. And so I took this penguin and, like, I was so sad and tired, I just rested my head on this penguin. And then I sort of just mumbled, like, are you guys ready to do the fun cast? And then you walked in, and that was it. That was the end of the dream. It was like the start of the podcast.
Oh, now here we are.
And then I woke up, and I was late to the podcast. I started the fun cast.
What if right now the door to this studio opened and Minion 600 walked out?
I can still see his face, too.
Was Minion 600 a minion?
I asked that earlier, but no one noticed. You can still see his face. What did he look like?
Just sort of a
What
generic...
if I spun this monitor around right now and it had like the Fallout character creator on it? I was like, please, let's do a reconstruction of Minion 600.
I could do it. Maybe by the end of the podcast, I'll work on it. Yeah. Anyway.
Head not round enough.
Too many eyes. I guess minions can have up to 2 eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that there's 1 and 2-eyed minions. I don't really...
You'll know in the future.
I'll know when I'll tell you when I hire one.
Yeah. That turns around and fires you.
My own undoing was hiring a minion.
Yeah. Anyway, cool.
Minion 600 is like the perfect genetic minion. it's like
right.
Agent 47.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Minion 600 doesn't fuck around. When you hire Minion 600, you better be able to handle it, because the slightest mistake, it'll all come back on you.
Now all I think of, which I imagine is the obvious thing to think of, is the like Terminator 2 trailer with the machine, but it's just stamping out fucking minions. And then for some reason it results in, I don't even know what the perfect minion is. It's just a capsule collider.
Yeah, consult Nick's dreams.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
welcome to
thanks
corporate headquarters.
Yep. Anyway, that was a strange dream.
Yeah.
So you guys played games. You played Owlboy, I heard.
Yeah,
You played. I don't even know what this is.
I had not heard of it
like
until yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, this game's been in development for like our entire lives.
I will say I think it's been about 9 years, and having played.
I'm 9, so.
Oh.
So having what?
Minion 600 is only 3 months old, being born in a vat, and is still better at your job than you. So, fucking owned. Meanwhile, I'm 36 and feeling old as fuck this week, but I don't want to...
Oh, yeah, you just turned 36.
I feel real old.
Yesterday. 3 days ago.
I've been making video games for 10 years, which is not very long, but is also a long time. But also I started when I was 26, which is old, and now I'm real old. Anyway.
Good job.
I'm a skeleton now. It's okay. So I'm going to talk about Owlboy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Dishonored Halloween.
And, oh my God, is it Dishonored Halloween? No, we missed it. Or it's next week. Who's to say?
Yeah, I think...
Maybe it's next week because that's when Dishonored 2 comes out. We should just call it this year.
Probably.
They're celebrating Dishonored Halloween by releasing Dishonored 2. It's Dishonored 2 Halloween. Slightly different, a little different take. So anyway, to get back to me feeling old, I'm going to start off by saying I've played a couple hours of Owlboy, and I'm not entirely sure what this game is.
Me too.
Okay, good. Whew, whew. The youth are with me. Chris, also an old person.
I mean, for me, that reaction is in large part because, and this is something that, I mean, unfortunately, this is a classic case where this game came out like so soon to when we recorded the podcast that it's hard for us to have played as much of it as I want. But the entire time I played it, I felt like I was still in the sort of intro tutorial.
I've been waiting, quote unquote, for the game to start, and I'm a ways in, and I can't tell if this is what it is or not. And I'm sure that.
Like, is the whole thing kind of a scripted, narrative experience?
It's hard to tell, because Owlboy... We should get into what Owlboy actually is.
Sorry.
Owlboy is a 2D game that is sort of structured like a platformer, except that you are an Owlboy. You're a sort of anthropomorphic owl. You can actually fly around, and you spend the majority of the game flying. You're only on the ground from time to time. So it's sort of the world structure is kind of a Metroid-y maze built out of these sort of curved, organic feeling rocks that are like the floating rocks in Avatar, the movie, or something.
Okay.
Fictionally, it's like a bunch of floating islands that are sort of slowly drifting apart. So there's little structures on them. There's stores and people's houses and whatever else, and caves that you can go in that are inside bigger rocks. But and so from a glance, it seems like it's maybe a Metroidvania where you fly, with emphasis on exploring, and sort of the number of enemy encounters seems to be relatively low, and they're not super crazy.
Which I like.
I've hit some bosses, but they're also not super crazy. Yeah, like I like that it's really lightweight, and that it's more about the atmosphere of being in this world, which is really it's all pixel art, and it is incredibly detailed. It feels like at least the background plates feel very like Miyazaki-esque, except pixel art. Like it doesn't feel like it's a direct descendant of like Square or of like Secret of Mana, or there's a lot of games like this or Metroid that just feel like they're modern old 16-bit games brought forward. It feels a little bit more like it's its own thing, but it also feels very much like it's informed by old adventure games or something like that to me, or like just the story parts of something like Mario RPG or like Mario and Luigi.
Right.
Or
like
3DS.
a Square RPG, which is what those were inspired by. Yeah, it sort of feels
the tone feels more like a Mario RPG as far as the way the dialogue's written and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like what if that was how the whole adventure game story was told, but without any of the RPG combat?
Yeah. But like the art is rendered in a way that like when you're inside of a shop, it feels more like Monkey Island or something than an RPG to me. And they've done the thing now where it literally has the cutaway to the villain whenever you accomplish something big, which feels like a total old adventure game thing. But yeah, there's so much story and so many places where it'll just suddenly cut into dialogue that you're like through, that I can't tell if there's ever going to be a point where the game is just uninterrupted, I'm exploring and solving stuff, or if their whole deal with this is
right.
It's a like
just a very
single track narrative
yeah.
thread inside of the sort of the trappings of a Metroid where you can fly around.
And it's kind of frustrating because the story that's happening to me is not really like worth constantly interrupting your flying around and doing actual things. Because it's like, oh no, there's pirates now. Like, oh, like everyone thinks you suck. Like there's a lot of like, you're a shit ass Owlboy, and like everyone tells you how garbage you are, and like your mentor thinks you're like a piece of shit. And
that reduces after the first sort of loop of stuff.
It's pretty hilariously relentless for the first like 45 minutes of that game. It's really weird, but anyway, there's just a lot of interruption, and it's sort of like increasingly chipped away at my resilience to like my desire to want to keep playing the game. I don't know. I hope that it stops a little bit or like reduces. I feel like this game is Jake, as you said, is like it's very beautiful, and I like the game systems. There's a cool thing where you have a buddy who has a gun, and you can carry him around in your talons and basically just control his aim with the mouse, or I assume with the right stick if you're playing a controller. I don't know.
I'm playing with a mouse keyboard, but it turns into basically a twin stick shooter when you're carrying that person around. And if you don't have him, you have to drop the other person to pick up health, which are buried in the ground, sort of like the root vegetables in Mario 2. Or you can pick up various like weights to solve a puzzle where you have to put it on a pressure plate, or you can pick up some enemies, and you can just picking up and carrying things is what you do. But
right, and so you can like split between two pressure plates that have to be pressed simultaneously by like dropping him on one and standing on the other one. Then you go through and you have a little device you can use to instantly recall him. So like there's good kind of puzzle-y platformer
and
stuff.
The inventory screen in the style of these games implies that there's going to be other characters that you can also meet and pick up along the way.
It's got the Zelda style,
cool.
inventory where it's like teasing you at what you're.
We're both very early. I read I read John Walker's review at Rock Paper Shotgun, and it implied that there's more going on in this game than we're aware of right now.
I'm sure there is. I just wish it got into it a little faster because, again, like it's just not like on the one hand, the story, as you say, like told in this sort of charming 16-bit RPG style, it is kind of like quaint and fun, but also like those games, it's such a lightweight story that I don't know what the point of having so much of it is. You know, like it just feels totally unnecessary to me. It's like you can pretty much figure out what's going on by just playing by like the stuff that actually happens in the game.
I wished partway through, and this is a shitty like armchair design thing, I guess, but if they wanted all that dialogue in the game, I wished that there was a less modal way of delivering it. Like if they really were like, we have to have all the characters say these things all the time. If those text balloons could come up in a way that didn't force your characters to go to like get blocked,
lock in place.
Like block into cutscene position and then make you beep 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 back through it. Like if that stuff could be functionally running subtitles through those moments in the level, they could probably get away with that a lot more than they do.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean,
well, your character also doesn't talk.
Yes.
So it's like people are just talking at him.
Yep.
Always.
Or for you.
Right.
I was given the option to respond once so far by way of choosing an emote. Someone asked if I wanted to do something or not, and I got like a stern face or a happy face, and depending on which one I pressed, the character sort of went, like made a big grin. So, you know.
So you're enthusiastic. You were into it.
I wanted to hear whatever that was, or I wanted to go wherever they wanted. I don't remember. And there was also a place where we, because this is what you do in games now, we stopped for the night to at a campfire, at a bonfire that was out in the level. But then I think that it refilled my health. I don't remember because I may have had full health at the time. But that was also an opportunity for more dialogue, and that was an actual dialogue tree where the character says, "Oh, I know all these things about the world. What do you want to hear about?" And then you can ask about like 5 different things. And I said, "I just want to go to bed," because I'd heard a lot of dialogue, but I don't know. If you are a person for whom listening to text-based dialogue doesn't seem like it will immediately grate on you, I still definitely recommend looking at it and playing this game because I don't think there's a lot of stuff like this being made right now.
No, there's not. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Shovel Knight, not in that it plays the same, but in that it's a rare example of a new kind of 16-bit throwback platformer that actually still feels modern in its design because it synthesizes a bunch of different kind of classic elements with just stuff you can do now easily without worrying about the console constraints that those games had.
Yep.
Like Jake, you played a lot of Shovel Knight. I mean, I did too.
I did.
Did you play that, Nick?
No, I never did actually.
Yeah, it's just like it's another example of just a good modern game that is like heavily rooted in kind of nostalgic 90s console platforming stuff, but
like early 90s though. Like 90s platforming could also be Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, that's true. Right. Yeah, pre
2D 90s,
pre 64-bit. It's cool to play something like that's just really polished and really well thought through.
Yeah.
So, despite
the third one that's kind of in this mix, even though it's not a platformer, is Hyper Light Drifter, but unlike both Shovel Knight and Hyper Light Drifter, Owlboy does not seem to be brutal. Because both Hyper Light Drifter and Shovel Knight,
especially Hyper Light Drifter.
Yeah, I eventually got to a point in Shovel Knight where I could not progress anymore, and I still had at least a third of the world map to go, if not more, because that game is humongous.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess Hyper Light Drifter just beats you up from the
get-go. Owlboy is
much
more gentle.
Yeah. Owlboy seems like it's more about exploring and playing around with this stuff. I mean, maybe I've only unlocked like a fifth of the inventory screen, so Owlboy could also end up getting intense. But it doesn't
feel like the systems that it has don't feel like they're designed to put you in situations as brutal as those other games, because it doesn't have a lot of the really hair trigger kind of super crisp moveset that those other games do. The one way I could theoretically imagine that game getting really brutal is since you can fly around, you could imagine a bullet hell
Owlboy. It has that in itself by way of having the sort of twin stick style
there are bosses
stuff
that shoot lots of bullets at you, but it's just not that hard, really. At least not the stuff that's been in it so far.
I like the music in it a lot.
Oh yeah, the music is cool. It's got like a full sort of soundtrack with a lot of kind of synthesized orchestral stuff.
Not a lot of games go for that genre though. Of like,
no, it's got like a classic adventure score, like adventure movie orchestral score.
Oh.
As opposed to the modern version of orchestral, which is just like big drums and choruses doing.
Right.
The same
Yeah, this is
thing.
more like actual strings and woodwinds and things.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but in like
they're
a
played by a
cheesy
robot.
synthesized way.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what can you
it's
do?
cute. It's good.
That's cool.
It's good. Yeah. And it's really it's a really extensive soundtrack. It's really there's a lot of it. It sounds like.
Yep. No.
Yeah.
Owlboy. I'll be playing more of this game.
Is Owlboy just on PC right now? Is it on other stuff?
That is a question that I don't know the answer to.
I don't know. Either.
I played it on Steam. It seems like the kind of game that was
PC, but yeah.
that is obviously made by someone who loves console games. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going elsewhere.
It says PC here, but
Yep.
I don't know if they've talked about anything else.
Yeah. Well, it's on PC for now. And it's been in development for like a million years.
Yep.
Got people reporting on this game positively in 2013.
It goes back even earlier than that.
No, I
think.
know, but
Yeah.
it's just like there were a lot of, like, I think big previews around then that led people to believe the game was coming out fairly soon. And now it's been another 3 years.
Yeah, there was a good article on Waypoint, which is Vice's new gaming blog.
Yeah, headed up by Austin Walker.
Yeah, which covers the 10-year development of Owlboy.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it was written by Patrick Klepek, but I can't remember if
I'd
that's
be
true or
interested
not.
to read that.
It's worth looking at.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to find it so I can actually refer people to it, but I think if you just search for Waypoint Owlboy, you'll find it. Just search for Waypoint Owlboy. Just search for video game.
Operation Waypoint Owlboy. It's the exhausting 10-year journey to release Owlboy.
Yes. Anyway.
And it was by Patrick Klepek. Cool.
It was by False Scoops, Patrick Klepek.
False Scoops. All right. Well,
I don't know.
Nick, do you have any Battlefield thoughts? Have any of our Owlboy thoughts jogged any profound Battlefield thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for Battlefield's tutorial phase to be over.
Uh-huh.
Too many people talking, too many cutscenes in the middle of my Battlefield.
I would entirely believe that in a modern historical war game.
People say the
game.
single player. I should go through and actually play the campaign of this game because people say it's actually really well done in a way that these games are typically not known for. So I should play the game is what I'm saying, Chris.
Sure.
But no, I'm just playing them. I think the last time I talked about this, it was just like the beta, I believe. So I went out and I bought the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't played a shooty game in a long time. I don't know.
Did you play Doom?
I did play the single player. I never played the
too.
multiplayer.
Okay, so you're talking about a multiplayer.
I'm talking about a multiplayer, I don't know, kill guys and
twitchy action
blood
game.
shoots out of their face, and
you didn't play Overwatch this summer with the rest of the world?
No, I didn't. I played, I think, some of the beta of that, but it didn't grab me in the same way that it grabbed a lot of people. But yeah, it's really, really good. There are just things that they're doing that it's just super smart, and I noticed some of the things in the beta, but now I'm kind of like uncovering more of those things. But then, I don't know. It's just because I haven't played one of these games in a long time. Just having the round where I'm driving around as a tank and I went 25-0, and I felt like I was 16 again, which is the grossest high school football fucking thing in the world to say as a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I remember back in the day I was good. Sure, Dad, sure you were.
I was at the top of the leaderboards when I was 16.
Medal of Honor.
Those are my glory days.
Meanwhile, 2 a.m. kids asleep, go down to the basement with your razor and just pretend that you're still 16. Yeah, that's basically
what?
No, I'm just saying.
Razer brand gaming computer.
No. No. There's a whole other narrative that was happening in yeah.
I was like, that's not an adolescent memory to look back on fondly. Jesus.
But with Razer branded gaming gear.
Right. Anyway. But no, so this game actually, to me, it feels really close to what Battlefield 1942 felt like, which was just goofy stuff. Like, Battlefield 1942, for people who didn't play that game, it was the first game of this series, and you could do things like jump on like the side of a plane and just ride around on it, and just like do stupid early internet, like early multiplayer garbage that just like kind of defined that game. Like,
it's crazy how ahead of its time that game was.
It was really ahead of its time. I can still remember just like moments of me playing that game, like just stupid stuff that happened, and it was hilarious and goofy and the best. Like kind of in the way that, like, I feel like Team Fortress kind of synthesized that sort of stuff into an actual like mechanical.
Well, it also smoothed it down
a little bit, right? But like it did it in a
Team
very
Fortress,
like
the original Team Fortress was also smaller in scope. But yeah, I mean, like 1942 was kind of the like high point of that level of like indulgent multiplayer insanity for a long time.
Yeah,
and that genre really sort of sanded itself down for understandable reasons to like for like stability and like performance and stuff. But also, that was a hilarious, weird time.
Yeah. So Battlefield 1 has a combination of stuff that is incredibly in your face and powerful, I guess is the way I would say it. Like the fidelity of this game.
Battlefield 1942 came out almost 15 years ago now.
I know, yeah.
So,
old guys.
So you actually are thinking back to your teen,
no, I am.
It's
super gross. Yep. But it has...
I guess not quite. No.
What was it, 90... Was it 90s or
no? Medal of Honor 1 was 99, and I think Battlefield came out after that.
2000.
It was 2002.
Yeah.
Oh, 2002.
So you and I were 18.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Jake
my college
was in
football
his early
years.
20s, so.
I was 32. No, I don't.
You're 22.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Nick.
No, but this game has a combination of things that like you would associate with a modern shooter, but it's doing it in a way that is actually crazy. Like I saw a post somebody linked on Twitter to a comment on some game site, and this guy was talking about how this is the first game that has actually like triggered. He was a veteran. He's a veteran of the Iraq War, and it's the first game that actually triggered
like a flashback,
from him. And I can understand why, because there are moments in this game where I think part of it's the graphical fidelity. I think a large part of it is the sound design, which is just amazing. Like the dice sound. I mean. If anybody played like Star Wars Battlefront, I mean, just like whatever, they had a sound library for that, but it's still like they nailed that shit. No, it's not what makes it good.
Yeah, you could give a lot of people the Star Wars sound library and just get muddy trash.
Yep. No, they are top of the class, like sound designers.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe DICE should make a Hanna-Barbera game as like the ultimate challenge. Like take the Scooby-Doo sound library and see, and
something
see if you can win a sound award for like a game where you make bongo noises when you run. Anyway. Final boss of audio implementers.
God, I wonder who invented the running bongos.
Some wacky 60s man.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those choices are like absolutely inspired. I mean, they're ridiculous and they turn into cliches really quickly. But like the first person to think of putting bongos underneath a character, like a cartoon
skittering
character
around about to
spinning
run.
wheels, like, that's brilliant. That's like truly like who the fuck would think of that? That's ridiculous.
A man in a room that had like a billion things.
Yeah, but
when you have like one like
he's in a physical space,
a tree made out of like 15 bicycle horns. You're in the right zone to come up with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick. The sound design in World War I replica Battlefield 1.
Someone make this mod, please.
Yeah,
someone please make.
Oh, someone will make that
the
mod.
audio mod.
Oh my god.
The like Hanna-Barbera.
that whole sound library has
like
been available for
Warner
purchase
Brothers.
multiple times.
Only when you sprint, though. I think in like the Battlefield mod where like you're just walking and it's fine, but then when you sprint, it does the bongos.
Well, if you're walking slowly, it does it like doom 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 doom
right.
doom 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 doom. Yeah, you could take it really far.
Yeah.
But it gets really hard when every character is emitting those sound effects, though. That's where the mastery comes in.
Well, that's like one of those Macho Man
the true
mods.
like max like. See, this is like where the DICE subtlety of audio mixing comes in. The true version of it would be that your stuff is almost always fully audible to you, but other people's stuff is only audible. Yeah, not just positional, but also based on like priority and importance and like outrageousness.
Right, so like if something completely wacky happens up above you,
like
when
like you know,
when someone ejects from a plane as they're flying past you, you better fucking hear the wacky sound effect that makes.
Yeah,
and it might even be different than what the person flying the plane and ejecting hears.
That's true.
Because
it's
a different emotion if it's you, whereas if it's someone else. It's
like
hilarious.
as they're coming towards you, as they like plummet to the ground from the ejector seat, it's
gotta
doing
hear
the dive bomb like
Yeah.
But they're not hearing that. They're hearing some like teeth chattering sound or something.
Right.
What? Who knows what?
Right, or like a flexitail going whoop, 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 like
Yeah.
some. Yeah. Anyway, Chris, maybe we should do this. Nick,
No, you can't. Sorry, they
Nick,
don't have mod support.
So this is what's giving people. This is what's giving people. Fucking on. It's weird that this like chattering teeth
and the bongos,
yeah, bongos is giving someone flashbacks to war, but
right.
Well,
War,
sorry,
war can be a
war
crazy
has
thing.
changed.
War has fully changed.
Or has really changed, you guys.
Sorry, I actually did want to hear what you said before I ruined it by you saying it on this podcast.
You're saying that this is a very realistic game.
It can be. It is the most realistic game and the least realistic game in two extremes, which is why I like it.
Well, that's an interesting thing because that's only possible now.
I know.
Right? Like we've now reached a point where you can actually
it's fascinating.
Have really, really, really subtle visuals and audio and like the combination of all those things together. But also, obviously, fundamentally, it's just totally absurd.
Yeah.
So those moments are like they're like serendipity, within this like larger canvas of absurdity.
Yep. There was a moment where I was sort of there's a map where there are no vehicles, and it's this sort of intense forest thing where it's like a Hamburger Hill kind of scenario where it's just there's a sort of a raised hill area with a flag, and people are just running towards it the whole time, and it's just vicious. But then there are these paths around the outside of the level that have like sort of like rundown shacks and things, and but almost nobody takes those. They just go straight for the stupid flag. So I took one of those paths one time, and I had this like Saving Private Ryan moment where I saw a guy kind of just for like a split second, just like a flutter of like a tree. And then he disappeared, and he was I could tell that he was kind of coming in my direction, but this shack was between me and him. And I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak into this shack, go up to the window, and then wait for him to like come in front of the window, and then shoot him through the window, and I'll be like really sneaky. So I like walked up to this window, got in the shack, walked up the window, and I'm just looking through the window, and the window has like a perfect kind of like reflection sheen, and like the scratches in the window, everything just looks amazing, and the trees are phenomenal, and like everything. It's just like in that moment, it was like a perfectly realistic thing. And then I'm just like, he's not here. Where'd he go? And I turn to the right, and he's like right in front of me, and then he charges me with his bayonet. And when you get charged with a bayonet in this game, it basically just like sucks you to the guy in an animation.
Right.
And so the effect of it was like a jump scare in a horror film, where like I just turned, and he was like, and just like stabbed me, and like he was in my face. His face was in my face, and just blood flew everywhere. And I like hit the ground in first person, and I just like flew up out of my chair. I was like, holy shit! Fuck. Oh my god, that was insane. And then the next map, I was in a tank, and I was shooting down bombers with my fucking tank gun. And this guy was just like, how are you doing this? I don't know how you're shooting down planes with a tank barrel. He was like, I had this like dialogue with this guy, because he was just like, what are you doing? This is wacky. How are you making this happen? And I just like managed to get good at that. And I was like 25-0 on this, like leading the server, doing the most wacky, insane bullshit. Like just like
no one's gonna ever jump scare me in a haunted house again. Says grizzled Nick Breckon, tank commander.
Like I drove my tank.
I'm never leaving this tank. Turn around inside tank.
Meanwhile, like privates outside in a trench.
Right.
Legends say that once he was ambushed in a haunted house, he never left his tank again.
But I was in this tank, and like people can spawn on top of you if you're in your squad together. And
can you shake them off?
No. But I mean, they spawn in the tank with you.
Oh.
And so like they spawn into like the other gunnery positions.
Yeah.
But the hilarious thing about the tanks in this game is they're like World War I tanks. So they're not like elegant or efficient or so when you're like a tank gunner in this game, your FOV is constrained to the size of like a 6-inch window.
I'm impressed that they were honest to that.
It's almost unenjoyable to be one of those guys.
That's
because
good.
you have like this much of a space, but then there are like 6 people in this tank, and the tank of course just looks like a box.
Right.
And so it's this stupid thing where you're just driving around in this dumb box and nobody can see anything, and they're just shooting all the time because they can't see anything. And so I drove this tank up this mountain, which took like an hour because they don't go quickly, like, because they made them realistic, kind of. So you're just driving up this mountain for an hour, and I could tell, like, everybody, it was like a long car ride, right? Everyone was just like, come on, where are we going to get to the flag? Like, we spawned on you, we thought you were like 25-0 because you shot down those bombers. We thought you were cool, but now we're just in this boring van. And I was just driving up this mountain.
I'm going to stop this tank right here.
Yeah, no, I know. And I got up to the top, and by the time I got up to the top, like, our team had already captured the flag. Like, everything was fine. You know, people were, like, having coffee and just,
we're here,
like,
guys.
yeah, like,
it's us, the tank.
Yeah, right, yeah, we made it. No, we already figured that out a week ago. And so I then had to, like, drive down off the mountain. And they've just, you know, they've made it such that that's, like, basically impossible. But then they haven't done it where, like, you know, if your tank hits a rock, it explodes. Of course not. It's Battlefield. So we start, like, down the side of this mountain, and the tank traction just gives out. And we start to slide. And the 6 people, I could just see the gun start to swivel a little faster, like nervously, like trying to look out the side of the tank, like, where are we going? I can't see, because they lock you to first person when you're in the gunnery position, but when you're driving, you can go to third. So I know what's about to happen, but all these people are just like,
that's amazing.
Where are we?
They just see the outside scrolling by a little faster.
Yeah, they're just a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Oh no, we're starting to tip. And then we just start to tumble, just end over end. And then it's like, for a second, it's like we're gonna recover. You know, like, it seems like, oh, maybe the halo flip is no, we're not gonna right ourselves, and we just start to keep tumbling, and we hit, like, 600 feet later, we hit the ground and just barely teetered back up.
Oh wow!
And then there was, like, bomber right in front of us, and I just shot him right out of the sky.
Oh, shit.
And then, like, I think after that, there was this crazy pileup of me, like, driving over other tanks. Because you can, like, they don't, like, stop the traction on objects. Like, everything is still simulated, so it lets you just do, like,
so your tank works
stuff.
like it would in, like, a kid's toy commercial.
Basically. So, like, if you really work at it, you can just kind of climb up on another tank. And so there were, like, 2 tanks on top of each other. I mean, just, like, stupid bullshit. So anyway, this game is, like, the best bullshit thing, but then also has these moments of just, like, terror and, like, you know, just battle awe, you know, just these insane moments of like something out of, like, Saving Private Ryan or something. But then it's also just, like, the goofiest, stupid shit, and I love it. It's really
like,
good.
It's like the freeze frame inset shots in a Ren and Stimpy episode.
Right. Yeah.
Where you just get this moment of, like, hyper realism.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about that game. But I keep playing it.
Cool.
This also sounds like a story that would have been good had you streamed it.
Yeah.
But maybe it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, who knows?
Hard to say.
Heisenberg's streaming principle.
It's true.
Once the moment is observed, we can't...
Yeah.
It changes it? I don't fucking know. Let's take a break. Video game. This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the fastest, easiest, and best way to make your very own website, blog, portfolio, or online store. And if you go to squarespace.com and use the offer code THUMBS at checkout, you will get 10% off your first order. And if you sign up for a year, you get a free domain name.
Nice.
Yes. So I just noticed an older tweet from slowblade.systems, and it says, website is up thanks to Idle Thumbs for the Squarespace coupon. I will be posting development logs up on the site starting shortly. So because this tweet was posted a while ago and I only just now saw it, these development logs are there. So Slowblade.systems can be found at slowblade.systems, which is...
Wow, hardcore.
Yeah, extremely good.
Very good, man.
Yeah, very good indeed. A one-man indie game development studio currently working on a game called Aloft Airship Pioneers, and there are now a bunch of dev blog entries up on it. And yeah, it's cool. This is just... There's a whole ton of development blogs about the ongoing creation of this game, which is pretty cool, and there's a newsletter you can sign up for. And I'm looking at it on my phone. Obviously, it works great on my phone. Squarespace is really handy for just quickly putting together a responsive website that works on any platform that has a web browser really easily. You can drag stuff around.
And it doesn't look like garbage.
It does not look like garbage. It looks really nice. And if you go to squarespace.com and use the promo code THUMBS, you can get 10% off your first order and get your own wacky free domain name if you sign up for a year. Squarespace.com with the offer code THUMBS. Video game. This episode of Idle Thumbs is also brought to you by Casper. Casper manufactures really comfortable and affordable mattresses and mails them directly to your home. If you go to casper.com/thumbs and also use the promo code thumbs at checkout, you will get $50 towards any mattress purchase. And I know for a fact that Nick Breckon, you have done this yourself.
I did this on Monday.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
And it's already at your house?
Yeah.
That's actually really impressive.
It is very impressive. I'm shocked. Yeah. No.
Remember, readers, that we are recording this a day earlier than you're hearing it.
That's true.
Making this an even more impressive.
It's a 2-day delivery.
Have you yet?
Just very excited. I'm very assured by the money back guarantee. I'm very all of the features of Casper. I feel very.
You haven't yet experienced
comfortable with. However,
you haven't experienced its rise from the box yet, though.
Right.
That's the next phase.
You should stream
I'm on the
it.
precipice. Oh yeah, right. Good.
Let's see that periscope of you watching your Casper mattress emerge from its shipping materials.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. I'm maybe I should stream it. Actually, it'd be hilarious. It'd be a good way to start the stream of something else.
Of anything?
Yeah, just
a good idea.
A pre-roll of a Casper exploding in my face.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, I'm super pumped. As mentioned earlier in the podcast, my back hurts, and so I'm really excited to have a new mattress, and I will report back.
What size did you get?
I got a queen.
Casper mattresses are very, very, very reasonably priced. They start at $500 for a twin size mattress, $850 for a queen, $950 for a king. Other sizes,
but then take $50 off those prices.
Take it off when you go to casper.com/thumbs and use the promo code thumbs. And then take it off and lie on that mattress and be comfortable, like Nick Breckon is soon to be.
When you lay down on your new Casper mattress, you can imagine what it feels like to have Nick Breckon laying down next to you on his new Casper mattress. You probably wouldn't even feel that he's there.
I might be
but
there.
You would hear
you
him.
Don't
but
know.
Yeah, you might turn to look next to you, and he is there, and then you're stabbed with a bayonet, and it's horrifying. But it's okay. Then you and that mattress go rolling around shooting planes out of the air in your dreams.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Casper.
Yeah, thanks, Casper.
Casper.com/thumbs with the promo code thumbs.
That was getting into like motocross or like monster truck.
Yeah.
Casper.com/thumbs with the promo code thumbs.
Someday.
We'll give you 100 days, but you'll only need one.
All right, we're back.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey!
Hey there.
Hey!
So,
there.
Jake, you and I know, have both played a bunch of the new iOS version of Mini Metro.
I have as well.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
No.
Which came out, I'd played a bunch of it on Steam in, I guess, early access. I want to say like a year or two ago at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for Mini Metro to come out on mobile forever because it seemed like the sort of game that I would play on a phone more likely than I would sit at a desk and play. But maybe,
sure.
I don't know.
So this is a game. It is a sort of real-time, really tiny little strategy/management game where you are designing a like municipal subway, like a metro system, in the style of the classic London Underground tube map, like the totally classic, like 45-degree angle colored routes map that is increasingly a standard by which other transit maps are designed. And you're like, as stations sort of just pop up on a city map that's really simple, just consists of like white land and blue like rivers and other water features, and you have to, and then stations just pop up on the map, and you have to connect them
with your existing
with
system.
routes. Yeah, you have to like draw routes between them, and then passengers will spawn in and need to get to other stops. Like some stops are triangles and some are circles and some squares, and passengers are also shaped like those various shapes.
They're shaped like the destinations they want to get to.
Exactly. So you have to connect all these stations in such a way that allows all of the passengers to get where they're going without letting them pile up at any given station too long and sort of eventually overcrowd and cause your system to fail. And so this game is, you can pause it, but it's largely just happening as the game runs. You know, it's so you're kind of always scrambling. It's not like a SimCity or something where the game is like, where there's a lot of sort of just leisure time. Like in this game, you're basically always under the gun trying to like slam more routes in to take into account all the new stations and passengers you have. It's a really just sort of very simple, elegant game.
And the game ends when one of your stations gets so overcrowded and underserved that when they start getting clogged up, a timer starts, and if the timer fills all the way up, then you lose.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's the whole game. It just does that until you lose, basically. And it's a good game. It's a weird game, kind of. Like, there's a fundamentally weird, like, argument or sort of premise of this game, which is it's a game that clearly loves public transit design and metro design, and like all the maps are actual real cities that have real metro systems, except for I think Auckland, which is the last one, which the description makes it sound like Auckland doesn't actually have a metro system. It says design hypothetical Auckland metro, but all the other cities are based on cities that actually have, full scale metros.
I wish that San Francisco's metro.
I know. You can make the Marin Bart.
Yes, I know. In the San Francisco one, stations will actually spawn up in the North Bay, where, as any Bay Area resident knows, no subway goes there for stupid reasons.
Yeah.
For stupid NIMBY reasons. But anyway, so it's and each map, each like little tiny like one sentence description of each city map has some little detail about the city. It's like in Hong Kong, it says something like, connect this like dense network and account for like frequent population booms and things like that. I mean, each city has some little bit of flavor that speaks to either like that's city's real metro system or some like feature of the actual topography or design.
Are the train speeds also different city to city? Because I know
one of them and capacities are.
Okay,
yeah, because like Osaka has two, like every city has just, you can add additional trains to a given line, but Osaka also has the Shinkansen, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's the bullet train system that connects all of Japan's major cities. And so you can add regular trains, but also like a smaller number of these Shinkansen trains, which go a lot faster than the regular trains. Yeah, I don't know if you've played Osaka.
I feel like that's new. I haven't gotten that far on the mobile version, but
have you played that
completely
city?
destroyed
that specific city?
Yeah, I completely wrecked the PC version of this game, but I don't think that was included then. I think they've added some newer things. I've noticed that like
there's a lot of stuff that's added since I played it.
Yeah,
you can drag routes to new cities a lot more easily now. You can sort of just like stretch out routes instead of having to
without having to backpedal them.
Yeah, you can just like grab the middle of a route.
Well, you could always do that.
Oh, well, not when I last played it.
Maybe you played it really early. Yeah.
I must have. Anyway, so to like cap off my sort of point, like this game was clearly made by people who really like this stuff and love the design of these maps and are interested and like sort of researched all these different cities and recreated these cities and their sort of hypothetical alternate version of metro maps. But also it depicts a future in which every single city's mass transit is doomed to failure after like weeks. It's like a weird reality in which the construction of public transit is impossibly efficient. Like you can just instantly spawn in new lines and stations and respond to your citizens' needs like instantly, but your citizens are so fucking unforgiving that the second one station gets too crowded, the entire thing is just like shut down and all funding is pulled, which is just like it's a weird world that this game is positing. Because my longest running metro system was like 3 months or something, during which I created like just an impossibly massive, sprawling, beautiful network.
You have to almost think about each week as being like 15 years or something.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they adjusted the time scale.
But then the trains would be like moving in stop motion speed. It's really tough.
Yeah.
They're simulating two different things, which is people riding individual trains on a given day, and then also the growth of a system that should take a century.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys play this on the mode where you're locked into your decisions ever?
I haven't yet.
Oh, I see. That's my favorite mode.
I wanted to play through all the cities first.
Yeah. On PC, I played a ton of this game, and I just eventually kind of moved into that mode because it's just more challenging. And but it does slightly more. I mean, it gets a little bit closer to what actually like building a system like this is, because you can't make a mistake. Like you have to just be thinking ahead as much as you possibly can. It actually made me think while I was playing it that it'd be really interesting if a game like a SimCity or like a City Skylines was just accounting for that in a much more hardcore way than it ever does, right? Like, I think it's actually like that mode in this game is really interesting to me because it forces you to think in a way that when you're just laying down road and stuff in cities, you don't really like, or SimCity, like you don't you don't ever think like, oh, tearing this road up is going to be a problem. But I can tell you, living on a street that is being torn up right now, that it is they're tearing up 3 streets, 3 sections of three blocks, and it costs $5 million, and it's taking 6 months.
Oh, yeah. So, well, just look at the one tiny little additional subway line they're building in San Francisco right now that goes like less than a mile. It goes like a mile or something, or maybe 2 miles, and it'll have been like a full decade by the time that thing is done.
I really want to play the version of a city builder that just takes all of that into account, where you have to lay things down and then pulling anything up is just exorbitantly expensive.
A city builder that has a blueprint planning phase that then you commit to and then it gets executed, and you have to like, because there are systems in real city management, I imagine at least, that you do adapt in real life. That would be the equivalent of manipulating them on the map, but then there's ones that you have to just build in the abstract first, commit to, and then just be like, okay, we're going to just watch this shit get laid down in a horrible... Over years, and just go, like, yeah.
See, I kind of wished for a different thing when I was playing this game. I kind of wished for something that was as simple and elegant as Mini Metro, but takes place over a longer time scale and has softer failure states. I think it would be interesting to have... instead of like your entire system just being thrown in the trash can when one station fails, like maybe have a more localized failure state that's like that station fails and there's some penalty that happens to you for some of them. But I as is often the case when I talk about any kind of economic or planning game on these podcasts, like my preference is always for this sort of longer term, less failure oriented game where I can just like enjoy the thing for hours and kind of just like tinker with my little clockwork simulation. And I don't really want to like I don't want to have combat. Like I don't want to have to worry about like crazy like game ending failure states. I just want to like manage an increasingly complex system, which is, I mean, in life, it's very rare that like a city will just like straight up instantly fail overnight.
You should play, this is a stupid thing to say, but if you've never played it, you should play Railroad Tycoon.
Oh, Railroad Tycoon? I haven't actually played it.
Like the second Railroad Tycoon, I think you would really enjoy. Okay. It is that, but on the scale of the United States, like the continental United States, and you can fail, but it's pretty difficult, as I recall, and it's really just a very lax game where it goes throughout the eras, and you're slowly sort of building routes and watching your trains go around the country, and
that's cool.
Managing like supply and demand. You know, you have some cargo trains, you have some passenger trains. You have to sort of decide like between like how much of how many mail cars on each train, and on this particular route. Like it's very micromanagement-y, and it
feels like Mini Metro could get to a halfway point pretty quick, though, if you did something like what Chris was saying, where if you have those stations where the bar fills all the way up and they turn red, and then the longer those sit there, or the more stations you have, like customer dissatisfaction rises to the point that you're fired or something, just something that would let you have a bunch of those things starting to
accrue before you finally lose.
Yeah, so you have a chance to go in and like right now, there are situations where you just can back yourself into such a corner that you're just fucked. Like if you don't get additional tunnels early enough, if you don't keep a tunnel, one tunnel or one bridge in the bank, sometimes you'll have a point where the game
will spawn on an island you can't get to.
And then you're just like, I literally can't do anything about this, and you just
in those cases, what I often end up doing is like I will pause the game, painstakingly destroy my entire system, which you basically have to do stop by stop and line by line.
Can you do modifications when the time scale is paused?
Yes. What? Redraw the entire thing.
Yeah.
And then press play again, and then it like and that feels
sucks.
to me. Yeah, but I mean, as you say, there are cases where you're just fucked if you don't do that. It's like I would rather have my system continue than not continue. So the game sort of pushes me. If I'm not playing on the sort of hardcore mode Nick was talking about, then the game I feel like sort of pushes me into that. And I guess it just speaks to my like what I want out of that game, maybe more than what the game is, because the game is like essentially a score attack, right? The game is not meant to be a long-term simulation. So obviously, I'm not really criticizing the game for what it is. It's just that the thing the game is makes me imagine a version of it that's a bit longer term than the one that is shipped. But it's still a really good, elegant, simple game. I mean, I think the reason the game is like this is because it's very intentionally like the most elegant version of this design, and it probably is that. Like, it is really impressively like sort of elemental and straightforward, and I really appreciate that, because it's hard to design something that clean and carefully scoped. I just wish that it wasn't. I just wish that I didn't start every single game knowing that, like, within 10 minutes of now, this cool thing I make will be destroyed.
Yep. Do you guys both know Claire Hoskins?
Yeah.
She's she's studied a bunch of architecture and urban design, and she talked at GDC at the Level Design in a Day thing this last year. She posted her first ever mini Metro level, because you can post time lapses of your levels on iOS to Twitter, and she said, I tried to follow real planning principles of having a super interconnected network. I don't know if it worked, but I got up to 1,400 passengers on my first round. And like, looking at this thing is just, it shows that apparently if you actually pay attention to how subway planning should work, and you've actually studied urban design and then take mini Metro on, like,
hers looked like way more of a real subway system than any of mine did.
And I was in the low hundreds on my first round, but looking at that, I went, I guess if you do know how it's supposed to work, you can apparently can apparently walk into mini Metro out of the gate and
I've developed some strategies that I think are probably close to like what I mean, just really by way of like, not that I know anything about this stuff, but it sort of forces you to think like that and kind of teaches you.
Yeah, same. Learning like, when should lines be redundant? When should things be interconnected? How do you build transfer like stations that
transfer stations? Once you hit the point where you can make an actual like plop the transfer station on the thing that like increases the speed of all that stuff. Yeah, that's when it gets really interesting.
Yeah. My first one on the iOS one was like 1,200 points, but that's because I had played a bunch of it on it's not really a good
because you played it on
comparison, because I already knew how the game worked basically. But my thing always looked like dog shit compared to what you just showed me that she made. Like that's a really much nicer looking
mine
system.
Ends up just looking like when you put a bunch of cables in a bag. Like, if you're like, this is the box where I'm going to keep all my old USB cables, then you need one to pull it out. That's my subway map all the time.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting more thoughtful about it. I sort of played through all the cities to unlock all the cities, kind of just playing in a basically haphazard way. And now that I'm going back and like intentionally playing some specific cities to try and improve like my lowest scores, I'm having to be a little better. My initial approach was the exact opposite of the one she described, which was like, make the biggest possible like connected loop that I possibly can, and then like plug holes when I have to. And you can get decently far doing that, but there's a total upper limit to how efficient that'll ever be.
I initially erred on the side of more trains, fewer lines all the time, and now I'm like, no, more lines.
I always pump lines early. You
gotta pump those lines.
You gotta pump those lines.
Lines and bridges.
No, the bridges too. That's the other. That
depends
aspect.
A lot also on the city
on the
layout.
map.
Yeah. But managing bridges and knowing when to spend a bridge, basically, and when you know, like, that stuff is really.
Man, seeing Claire's thing makes me even more like desirous of a longer term version of this, because like by the end of her time lapse, it's like, wow, this is an amazing, awesome looking
right, but then one
system.
station age shit. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, wouldn't it be cool to like keep that running for a long time and like slowly add on? I don't know. I was in Sarah and I were just like at Escape from New York Pizza last night. If you guys know that, it's just on the 8, and they have a New York City subway transit map from, I think it was a 1985 update of a 1975 map. So it was accurate as of like March 1985. And having spent a lot of time in New York, and like, it was sort of amazing to see this map that was 30 years old and is such a similar, like, it looks, obviously, because subway systems move slow, like they build slowly. Looking at this system, it's like, wow, this is just what it looks like still basically now, except for these subtle little changes and like the sort of mythical but possibly soon to be real Second Avenue subway that's been it's like a century long like dream, which is not reflected on this map we were looking at, obviously. But it was like it is kind of amazing to see this system that has been, a century plus in the making, and see this just like arbitrary timestamp of it from a few decades ago and compare it to my knowledge of the system now. Like subway systems are it's a really crazy thing because they're like truly living history. Like they've now existed long enough that the major ones of the world, New York, London, places like that have existed longer than almost anyone currently alive. And everyone just uses them day to day. And they're like this weird intersection of like the past of a city. Like New York City still has like two separate track systems that are just a weird artifact of like the
two competing railroad companies.
Yeah, the private railroad companies that like gobbled up all their competitors and then eventually were I don't know what the term is for. I would say nationalized, but it's not because it's the city, not the country. But when they were absorbed by the city government, and like that still has a huge impact on the way the subway works today in terms of like what lines can have car arrival predictions and which ones can't. And it's like this weird just piece of like historical kind of currents and like circumstance that exists. And I just love the like huge timescale of that and the historical perspective of it. And it would be like, Nick, you talking about the what is it, Railroad Tycoon 2 is really appealing, but I love the city scale stuff so much. Like I just love cities and
you want
like, urban history.
Transport Tycoon which actually I think is supposed to be very good.
Okay, that's true. Okay, cool. But in the world of like microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe, supercomputer, if we have mini Metro, you want like mainframe Metro or super Metro. What if they put out a game called Super Metro? Everyone should know it's like a supercomputer. Like this is a mini computer. True. I imagine a strange person made Mini Metro, if that's what I imagine their brain does. I guess I imagine
You're imagining yourself literally right now.
You are Super Metro. At the end of the game, the train takes off its mask and it's Jake.
it's me, Super Metro.
Jake as like Thomas the Tank Engine train. Metro train. Gross.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you just want an endless mode to this game.
I basically do. I honestly,
for babies,
that's basically what I want.
Because you're a baby gamer.
I don't know. Yeah, I am a total baby gamer. I don't know how that would work given the way the game's designed.
What you actually want
is what would happen.
You want realism mode where the Metro system once built fucking stays there no matter how shitty it is.
That's exactly what I mean. That's like what when I was originally bringing up the weird, hilarious consequence of this game. It's like, God, if only like the consequences were this severe when people get backed up at the train station. That's sure not how it works in my experience. Like that does not fucking matter one bit.
You need the mode in Mini Metro where you also unlock mattress guys who shove people into overcrowded trains.
Yeah. God, Sarah kept like when we were in Tokyo, we kept
was she like hoping that there'd be a mattress guy?
Yeah, because it's such a hilarious thing that we.
I've been shoved in Tokyo.
Oh, you've had the shoved in. Yeah, we didn't ever.
Oh yeah.
We didn't ever have an experience that would have even been close to that.
Get in here.
What? Get in here.
Yep. It's a good experience.
That's the one line that they're like officially allowed to say.
Right?
In English.
Yeah. All the signs say.
They can say anything in Japanese.
Please get in here.
But the only thing they're allowed to say in English is "Ooh, get in here."
Yeah, they could say it like in the lascivious way that like a lascivious Homestar Runner character would say it.
Yeah.
It's just to like creep out
It's to make you
Tommy
back
Lee Jones
away
to
so
do
they
the
don't
ad.
have to touch you.
Yeah, right.
You're like,
I'll just wait for the next train.
I'll pack way closer to these other people who aren't saying, get in here. And you can just stay outside the train.
Anyway, Mini Metro.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I think it's a few dollars on
Yeah.
iOS. I can't remember anymore.
And it's also on Steam.
And it's on Steam. Yeah. And I actually kind of think I might go back to playing it on Steam because on iOS it's an entirely like sort of just one finger drag and drop game with the touchscreen. And it has an issue that a lot of mobile games have for me that involve really fiddly touch control, which is that your finger covers up the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah, this game.
So when you have a lot of stations all next to each other and you're trying to like re-drag a line from one to another, like the amount of times that like whoops, instead of grabbing the thing, I grabbed the actual train car. Whoops, I actually grabbed this, like, the other colored line that's, like, 1 pixel away from the one I meant. Like, it gets
probably
really
great
annoying.
on an iPad Pro or on a computer.
Yeah.
Also on a computer, though, like, this game, like, part of the like late game strategy of this game is for sure always pausing a lot and being able to slap spacebar to pause.
I know.
That's a big
There's
deal.
a really like
That's
tiny annoying choice they make, which is when you click the clock
the animation
to bring down the like pause, fast forward, play menu. It sort of like bounces down in a cute little way.
But bounces down one icon at a time.
Yeah, but it's like, just give me the button so I can press pause. Like, why are you doing this to me? There's an option in the options you can enable that lets you turn off just like tweened transitions and a lot of the actual in-game stuff, but you can't turn off the stupid bouncing menu, which is really irritating. The interface in this game is really nice and clean, but that is a baffling choice.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is still really cool. Mini Metroid. You can get it on Steam. You can get it on iOS. I don't know if it's on Android or not.
I will look up the answer to that.
But it's a good game. It's a totally good game. All of my like wistful desires are sort of inspired by this game, but I totally understand why this game works the way it does, and it works really well as essentially a score attack.
It is. It's in the Google Play Store.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Android, iOS, and Steam. All right, you want to do some reader mail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, before I get into reader mail, a couple cool updates about stuff. So there are 2 sort of holiday season Idle Thumbs community initiatives going on right now. One of these is Idle Santa, which happens every year. This is a really cool, like, it's a classic Secret Santa thing that the Idle forums hold. And you can, if you search for Idle Santa on the Idle forums, you will find a thread where you can send a private message to the person who created the thread and sign up to send a gift to a randomly selected Idle Forums member and also receive a gift from another randomly selected Idle Forums member. So it's just a fun forum-wide gift exchange that's been going on for years. I forget when it started on the forums, but it's been going on for a while. And it's just a really fun tradition. I signed up this year actually I've never done it before because I'm an asshole. But I signed up this year because it just seems cool. And I like that the forums just sort of put together all of this, these just like fun community events. And speaking of fun forum organized community events, the Wizard Jam 4 is coming up. So this is like changing the pattern from what was previously the Winter Wizard Jam. This is now just folding all Wizard Jam concepts into just a mainline number.
So Wizard Jam is just now, I guess, a thing that happens every 6 months instead of Wizard Jam, then Winter Wizard Jam.
Right. Instead of naming it by year or season, it's now just like, this is the 4th Wizard Jam that has happened.
What is Wizard Jam? Wizard Jam is a community organized and run game jam in which you make a game in a couple weeks based on any Idle Thumbs episode name. And as Chris said, this is the 4th one, and the last 3 have been very good. We streamed a bunch of games from Wizard Jam 3 a couple months back, and the output of the Idle Thumbs community in these jams is you're floored by how ridiculous it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hopefully I think I didn't follow, Jake, you probably followed the sort of decision to rename and number more closely than I did, but I would hope and sort of expect that one of the things that would achieve is making the kind of just convention of the jam like a little more intuitive and easier to understand, and maybe like I could totally imagine this eventually just getting folded into the sort of not folded into but sort of in the way that like Ludum Dare has just been going on for ages with a number. Like it's easy to just kind of figure out what that's about and get into it quickly without worrying about like the nuances of how the rules are different for the Winter Jam.
Yes, they wanted Wizard Jam to become simple, where it's just these bizarre names across Idle Thumbs Network are the seeds for the games, and then other than that, I mean, basically you have 2 weeks to make anything with that as the starter pack as the rule every single time, and then they always introduce diversifiers, optional diversifiers into the list where you can sort of choose to, I can't remember any of them now, which is stupid, but they, I think one of them was put a director's commentary into your game or make a game about XYZ. So I think like theme it around a holiday is a potential diversifier for Wizard Jam 4 that you can optionally choose to do, but it's not like this time the rules are we're all playing this. It's the top level rule of all Wizard Jam games or of all Wizard Jams is always the same. One goofy one that they're talking about this year that I like a lot is the idea of there being a Wizard Jam cinematic universe as an optional diversifier, which is
you incorporate elements from other Wizard Jam.
Yeah, do an asset exchange with someone else, or like just because that was a thing that I think happened kind of organically in the last Wizard Jam and was really funny. And like when Dot Gobbler showed up in multiple Wizard Jam games last year, that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to go all in on something like that and just ruin Wizard Jam by making it a cinematic universe jam. But they try to introduce sub rules or sub challenges to get people to to help ignite ideas or give you something goofy to throw in.
Yep. Yeah, and also just increase the community aspect of it. So that's a really cool thing. Do you know the timing of Wizard Jam 4 offhand?
Man, I should know that, shouldn't I? I will look now.
Well, while you're looking at that up, the Idle Santa 2016, I found it by just searching for Idle Thumbs Idle Santa 2016, and the forum thread popped up. And you have to have your submission in by 27. By your submission, I just mean you have to PM the forum member who made the thread. All you have to do is just like send them your name, address, and country before November 27th, and then indicate if you like are okay with international shipping or just shipping locally or whatever. And so if you get your information in by November 27th, you can then participate in the wacky Idle Santa 2016 gift exchange. So get on that if that sounds like a fun thing for you to do. And also, just so you know, the cap on present cost is like about $20 to $25. So you don't need to feel pressured about spending like tons of money on this. The idea is just like sending a funny or cool thing.
And Wizard Jam is coming up fast. It is Saturday, November 19th through Sunday, December 4th. If you want more details on the actual start time in your time zone and whatever else, you can go to idlethumbs.net, go to the forums. There's a Wizard Jam forum at the top, and there's currently a thread called Winter Wizard Jam 2016 Planning, which has an FAQ and the dates up at the top.
Cool. All right, let's do some reader mail real quick.
Yep.
So Shane Lynn writes, Dear Thumbs, I very much enjoyed your typically charming and slightly bewildered discussion of Civilization 6 in episode 286. I wanted to confirm that each of the 19 civs has its own unique theme. Not only that, but each theme has 4 versions for the ancient, medieval, industrial, and atomic eras, so as each player's civ progresses through the age, so too does its music. The simple melodies of the ancient era are augmented with Baroque ornamentation, romantic fervor, and eventually synthetic tones. The lighthearted Muppets theme that orchestrated Chris's ethnic cleansing of the Sumerians eventually transforms into a dystopian piece that wouldn't be out of place on the Deus Ex soundtrack. This is a combination of how Civ 4 and 5 did music. Civ 5 had incidental music based on region and also a different theme for each leader's diplomacy dialogue with war and peace variations. George Washington's war theme is an amazing martial version of America the Beautiful. Civ 4 featured an adapted soundtrack of largely Western classical music that was the same for every Civ but with tracks tied to particular eras. Although Civ 5's score is voluminous and very fine, I think 4 has stayed with me the most. To this day, whenever I hear Dvorak's American Suite, I reflexively think, well, I better have my workers start building windmills. I hope that 6's music will have as powerful an effect. Keep up the great pods, Shane. There's a dog in this office, it sounds like. Dear Liza. That is a good explanation of what is going on in Civ 6 musically, and actually makes me want to break with my traditional obsession of just only ever playing France and going for culture victory. Which
you only ever play as France traditionally? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I know. It's because they get culture bonuses, and I just love doing all the cultural. Like I just love building.
Oh, you just like building things for a long time and not doing any.
It's true.
Just letting it sort of
go
and
let
for
my
like
borders
periods
just
of time, long
expand
periods
forever,
of time,
and like
okay,
yeah, it's what I love, Nick. What can I say?
French baby.
Actually, what I ended up doing was really doubling down on religion in my first game, and I had a totally dominant religion. I really like all the way religion works now, and the sort of
I'm not really aware of it because I it's just so against my playstyle with Civ. But
is it in the post Gods and Kings world in which we live?
Yeah. The stuff they introduced in the Civ 6 expansions and Civ 5 expansions. Yeah, religion is like a very full featured component of the game, which is cool. Anyway, yeah, that's really cool. I also think Civ 4 is, for me so far, the musical high point of the series, mainly because it's actual like real music that is sourced and draws from, especially as you get into the modern era, just
the modern era John Adams stuff is just unbeatable.
It draws from a canon of music that just is totally underused in film and television, and sort of just it is just not, like, despite being a really rich wealth of music, it is just totally not really used in pop culture at all.
That's what they call modern music, Chris.
Yeah, it's
modern
new music.
New
I
music.
think is actually really the term that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's essentially like, people writing in the sort of European art music tradition, but in the 20th century, and through now, and it just lends that soundscape a really unique sound that you just would not hear like in any typical video game or movie soundtrack, except for like maybe a Stanley Kubrick film. He was one of the few film directors who actually used music from that canon.
And GTA 4 trailers.
That's true. The Philip Glass stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. I'm looking forward to playing more Civs in Civ 6 and hearing more of that stuff.
Yeah,
I like that. And also, didn't someone mention, or maybe it was one of us, I can't remember, that your soundscape also draws from other Civs you've encountered?
Someone in the Idle Thumbs forums pointed that out, that as you encounter more Civs, basically the playlist of available music that you're hearing increases.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I think I noticed that, but didn't really connect it with the era thing.
All right, so Pierre-Yves Laflèche writes, "Hey guys, one of the main types of videos my daughters watch is women dressed as Disney princesses eating weird things, especially candy. So get Nick into a dress and you'll get into a whole new demographic. Nice pods, a Zen master. Envoyé de mon iPhone." That is crazy. Women dressed as Disney princesses eating weird things, especially candy, as watched by young girls, I guess. Probably not just watched by young girls. I bet there's a very different, more distressing demographic that.
I mean, all of those things independently I knew were I mean, this is just a combination of things that I knew were sort of,
you mean
bubbling up in the background.
Disney princess videos,
eating videos,
candy.
all candy. Yeah. I mean, this is just the filtered down.
There's like people eating videos, then there's like
spot for somebody.
Candy review videos.
Yeah. It's the internet now.
Well, I don't think I'm going to look up this category of video. I think I'm going to
But I do think we're going to start producing them starring Nick Breckon.
That's true.
If you become a member of idlethumbs.net, you get exclusive bonuses such as Nick in a dress eating candy.
Nick Breckon, Disney princess.
We're going to only make him eat,
there's a certain dollar amount.
You're only eating
Idle Thumbs. I would dress up in a dress and eat a pepper or whatever you want. Whatever, some bullshit.
We're going to pioneer the Disney princess, the Disney princess drag ghost pepper eating stream.
God. That would actually kill
now that
me.
I've said it, it will just
that would kill me.
Yeah, you've created that
on the internet.
As long as you chase it with that toilet candy, then we're good.
Nick as Disney princess licking toilet candy.
Licking toilet. That's where the ellipses comes in on the YouTube. Licking toilet.
Licking toilet.
Yeah. Candy.
Yeah, that makes you want to click.
Doesn't make me want to click, I gotta say.
Oh, well, all right.
Someone though.
I guess we shouldn't do it then.
You gotta, your audience is yourself. You got to make something
what
that
you want to see.
That's why we're sticking to Nick Breckon dressed as Disney princess. Eating ghost peppers.
Yeah,
not toilet candy.
Not toilet candy. Please.
No, yeah.
I mean, what kind of weird preferences do you think I have?
I'd watch any of it.
Yeah. Brian Struble writes, "Hey Thumbs, I recently received Skyrim Remaster as a birthday gift and I'm having a great time with it since I never really got a chance to enjoy it 5 years ago. I noticed in your archive that the game was never really mentioned due to its release during a gap in the show. Any late impressions or hot scoops on this reheated game? Also, I've been binging old Thumbs casts and I really like all the music. The song about space assholes and wizards won't leave my brain. As a result, I created a mage in Skyrim named Wizard and I say the wizard, or quote the song, when burning assholes in the game, which results in laughter from my fiance judging me. I may have started calling Skyrim by an alternative name, Dragons and Assholes. It seemed appropriate since everyone you kill is a dragon or an asshole. Just in case you didn't know, vampire assholes are the worst. Thanks for the cast and entertainment, Brian Struble.
My memory is that we talked about Skyrim a ton, but it's because we talked about it. Chris, you, Sean, and I talked about it a ton on the Idle Thumbs Kickstarter progress casts, which were never publicly released. They were only for Kickstarter backers. But like that was when Sean got obsessed with home barreling and
that's right.
All the stories of Draelus. And I think that maybe there was a little bit of Skyrim that made it into one of the live episodes that we did, I think.
Probably. I mean, a weird quirk of like, I mean, the funny thing is, while we were on that break, Nick Breckon was at Bethesda.
Oh yeah, and you were working on Skyrim. You were working on Skyrim.
Yeah, I feel like one of the live shows, I think we did talk about it because
Skyrim
because
content.
I was there for that, I think.
Yeah,
and I think we talked about it. But anyway, that was during an era in which I was probably naming my like test files the Wizard or something. But like
any hot Skyrim scoops.
I did load up the remastered version actually this
cool.
week. I didn't really play much of it, but and I guess I'm sort of waiting on a patch because they the way they did it. There was this stuff in the press this week about how they compressed all of the audio in a weird way, and so I think they're going to address that, and I'm just waiting for that to occur. But anyway, hot scoops? I don't know. I probably hit a couple Idle Thumbs jokes in that game. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't really remember. But
uncover your own hidden content in the remastered Skyrim.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Finn Downs writes, "Hey Thumbs, in last week's episode you guys talked about the planned Nintendo theme park and weird possibilities of a game-themed park. Let me tell you about Sega World. Sega World was an indoor theme park that opened in Sydney in the mid-90s and closed in the early 2000s. I visited it twice when I was very young, so memories are hazy, but it's a big part of Australian 1990s nostalgia. With Sega's lineup, you'd expect Sonic to be the star of the show, possibly with supports from the Jester thing from the Knights game or Echo the Dolphin, but not a single one of the rides even referenced anything remotely Sega-related. Instead, you had rides like Aqua Nova, interactive animated film with hydraulic moving seats, where you had to stop a giant squid from destroying an underwater city by pressing a button as fast as possible. So it still captured that video game horrible QuickTime event experience. Alternatively, you could try and go on Rail Chase, a mine-themed indoor roller coaster. The closest thing you could get to a Sega reference was in AS1, another interactive movie simulating a spaceship chase, with Michael Jackson as the ship's captain, possibly a nod to Moonwalker for the Genesis.
Probably not.
Or
Captain
EO.
How did Michael Jackson star in multiple theme park interactive? I guess Captain EO wasn't interactive.
I'll
but
do anything as long as I'm
films.
A space captain. Like, okay, Michael.
As long as it's in a theme
sure,
park
whatever Michael
captain.
wants. Yeah.
The park did feature a big room full of arcade games, and I have a distinct memory of playing all the way through notable Capcom beat-em-up Dungeons & Dragons Shadows over Mystara on free play. Another thing about Sega World is that your very first experience after walking through the entrance was to be confronted by a guillotine. You could stick your head inside the stock of the guillotine, and after a short anticipatory delay, the blade would fall on the victim's head, appearing to cut right through their neck, but miraculously leaving them unharmed. Child me didn't think this was strange at the time, but in retrospect, I really have to wonder what committee thought that the front face of their park should be a mock execution. I guess they chose a guillotine because they wanted something edgy. Thanks for the pods, Finn. P.S. Check out this travel show feature on Sega World with Australian celebrity Ernie Dingo if you want a glimpse inside. How is that a guy?
How is that? It's an Australian man's name.
Oops.
Oh, well, you're checking it out.
I clicked the video and I got a ad for local
with American
state
celebrity
Senate candidate
Sam
Jan Kim.
Eagle.
Yeah.
Like to go to computer game heaven and spend hours playing the most recent high-tech games. My mate Sonic the Hedgehog here reckons you can do all that plus more at Australia's only indoor theme park right behind us. What's that?
This guy was...
He reckons I should stop talking and get going, so I'll leave you with it, mate. Have fun.
I'm just gonna stick my head in this guillotine.
Oh yeah, I wonder if that's...
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep watching with the volume turned down and see if that occurs. Anyway, wacky. What a weird thing.
Yep.
We should probably wrap up this podcast.
How do you make a Sega-themed amusement park and not have a goddamn Sonic the Hedgehog roller coaster? Baffling to me.
Yeah, that is really strange.
All of our talk about video game-related theme parks just makes me want Planet Coaster to finish their stupid closed... I'm so mad that I didn't buy it when it was out. And now like they're in the early access prelim phase. Man, I want Planet Coaster so bad.
I think it's soon. I think it's a couple weeks.
I need it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I need Planet Coaster in my life.
I know it was November something. Yeah.
I need it.
It's really good.
Well, they're already deep into the park at this point, and they did not show the guillotine. So maybe they some
no spoilers. They didn't
Yeah.
want to. They didn't want to, or they didn't want to show someone getting decapitated.
That's like the
on
first
TV.
thing. First, welcome to our theme park.
That's the sound it makes. That's how you know it's a joke.
Right.
Just makes a little.
Hopefully they borrow from that for the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog film by the...
Hopefully they borrow for that from.
Hopefully that
my upcoming
fucking
Outer Silk
when the guillotine drops, if the Sega scream happens, everything will be okay.
Pod. What is this? Sega?
It's the-
Oh, yeah.
they're like,
Sega! That'd be fine. On that note, goodbye.
Yeah.
Wait, let's tell people about how
that's
podcasts
true.
are promoted.
Yeah.
You can write us your own questions or comments at questions@idlethumbs.net, and we'll read it on Reader Mail. You can find us on Twitter also at idlethumbs. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/idlethumbs. Please, if you like this show, consider giving us a rating or review on iTunes. And if you know anyone who might be interested in this thing, tell a friend. That's really that's basically the one way we spread the word about the existence of Idle Thumbs. And we appreciate it when people pass it along. So thank you very much. You can find the rest of the shows on our network at idlethumbs.net. We will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye. What does the Tokyo subway guy say?
Like, get in the train. I don't know.
Oh, I think he says get on the train. Wow, nailed it.